In the bustling streets of Acadia, there was a hairstylist everyone called Amara the Miracle Worker. Customers left her salon with the most beautiful braids in the neighborhood, neat, tight, and stunning. But within days, they would return, scratching their scalps desperately, their edges thinning, their hair falling out in patches. And yet, nobody questioned why. Nobody suspected the young woman with the warm smile and gentle hands. Nobody, that is, except one silent observer who would expose everything. Amara had not always been this person. 5 years ago, she was just a hopeful apprentice under Sister Blessing's salon, dreaming of the day she would become a professional stylist. But those 5 years had been brutal. While other apprentices learned braiding techniques and customer service, Amara was relegated to sweeping floors, washing towels, and running endless errands. She watched girls who came after her progress and graduate while she remained stuck, invisible, and undervalued. Her family's poverty made everything worse. Her father worked as a security guard at a bank, earning barely enough to feed the family. Her mother sold vegetables at the local market, returning home each evening with calloused hands and a tired smile. Amara had twin siblings in secondary school, and some months, they ate only once a day. The weight of their struggle pressed on her chest every single night. Despite the mistreatment, Amara stayed patient. She believed that if she endured, if she worked hard enough, Sister Blessing would eventually recognize her dedication. She clung to her dream like a lifeline, imagining the day she would open her own salon and lift her family out of poverty. Then came the breaking point. Sister Blessing announced she was relocating to Abuja. When Amara asked about settling the apprentices, Sister Blessing laughed dismissively. "Find your way," she said, waving her hand. "I've taught you enough. No certificate. No compensation. No acknowledgement of 5 years of free labor." The dark months that followed nearly destroyed Amara. With no income, no credentials, and no hope, she sank into depression. She would sit in her small room, staring at the ceiling, wondering if she had wasted the most important years of her life. Her mother would find her crying and hold her, whispering prayers that felt hollow. One evening, a family friend visited and found Amara in this state. "Stop waiting for others to open doors for you," the woman said firmly. "You have hands. You have skill. Use them." That conversation planted a seed. Amara gathered every naira she had saved, money meant for emergencies, coins hidden in old tins, borrowed funds from sympathetic neighbors. She rented a tiny wooden kiosk at the edge of the market. The space was barely large enough for 2 people. The mirror was cracked. The chairs were plastic and mismatched. She borrowed a hairdryer from a friend and bought the most basic supplies she could afford. With her own hands, she painted a sign on cardboard. Amara's touch, quality and affordable. Standing in that empty kiosk on opening day, surrounded by her humble setup, Amara made a promise to herself. "I will do whatever it takes to make this work." She had no idea that this promise would lead her down a path she never imagined, one that would test her character, destroy her reputation, and teach her the hardest lesson of her life. The first week was everything Amara had dreamed of. Neighbors came to support her. Church members stopped by. A few curious customers from the market gave her a chance. And Amara poured her entire soul into every single braid. She was meticulous. Her fingers moved with practiced grace, sectioning hair with perfect precision. Each braid was uniform, tight but not painful, lasting. She would spend hours on a single head, refusing to rush, double-checking every cornrow, every edge, every parting. When customers looked in the mirror, their faces lit up. "Amara, this is beautiful. I've never had braids this neat. You're incredibly talented." They took pictures. They promised to return. They told their friends. Amara would stay late into the evening, cleaning her small shop, arranging her products, dreaming of the success that felt so close she could taste it. But 3 weeks later, her shop was empty. Every morning, Amara would unlock her door with hope. She would sweep the floor, arrange the chairs, check her mirror, and wait. Hours would pass. She would watch people walk by, glancing at her sign but not entering. By evening, she would lock up, disappointed but still hopeful. Tomorrow would be different. It wasn't. The cruelest part was seeing her customers around the neighborhood. They still wore her braids, perfectly intact, still looking fresh after 3 weeks. When she greeted them on the street, they would smile warmly. "Amara, my hair is still so beautiful. It hasn't even loosened." They said it with pride, like compliments. And it was a compliment to her skill. But to Amara, each word felt like a dagger. Because if their hair was still perfect, they had no reason to return. Her work was too good, too durable, too long-lasting. Customers were carrying her braids for 3 weeks, for weeks, some even longer. In those weeks, they weren't coming back. They weren't spending money. And Amara was drowning. The bills started piling up. Rent was due. Her hair products were running low. She tried everything she could think of to solve the problem legitimately. She reduced her prices, hoping to attract more customers. It worked briefly, but she only attracted bargain hunters who disappeared for weeks after their appointments. She offered free hair washes for returning customers. Nobody returned fast enough. She tried to advertise, but she had no budget for posters or flyers that would make any real difference. Meanwhile, her family's situation worsened. Her father's salary was delayed for 2 months. Her mother's vegetable sales declined as the rainy season reduced market traffic. Her siblings' school fees deadline approached with terrifying speed. Her younger brother fell sick and needed medication they couldn't afford. Amara began skipping meals to save money. She would drink only water some days, telling herself she wasn't hungry. The weight fell off her frame. Dark circles appeared under her eyes. She couldn't sleep, lying awake calculating impossible mathematics, how to stretch 500 naira into 5,000, how to turn nothing into something. One late evening, alone in her salon, Amara put her head down on the mirror table and let the tears come. Her entire body shook with sobs. "What if this shop closes?" she whispered to the empty room. "What if I wasted everything?" And in that moment of desperation, a memory surfaced. A dangerous memory. She was back in Sister Blessing's salon, about to dispose of the day's trash. She saw Sister Blessing throw away a jar of harsh relaxer, the industrial kind meant for extreme hair processing. Amara had picked it up, curious. "Don't touch that," Sister Blessing had snapped. "This chemical is too strong. Wrong application causes severe scalp irritation. That's why I'm throwing it away." One careless stylist used it on a customer's scalp directly, and the woman's head was covered in burns for weeks. Amara had dropped it immediately, frightened. But now, sitting in her failing salon, that memory took on a different meaning. Her mind began forming a terrible thought. If that chemical caused scalp irritation, if customers had to return quickly for relief, if she could control how often they needed her. No, she couldn't. But the thought wouldn't leave. It circled her mind like a vulture. She tried to push it away, but desperation gave it weight. She lay awake that entire night, staring at her ceiling, battling with herself. By morning, her conscience had lost the war. She told herself it wasn't really harming them, just making them need her sooner, just creating repeat customers. Wasn't that what every business needed? An older woman at the market had once told her, "Repeat customers are the secret to survival in this business." Amara twisted those words into justification. That morning, she made the trip to a beauty supply store in a different neighborhood where nobody knew her. Her hands shook as she purchased industrial-strength relaxer. The kind Sister Blessing had thrown away. The kind meant only for processing hair strands, never for scalp application. At home, she mixed it carefully with regular hair cream, creating a substance that looked harmless but burned like fire on sensitive skin. She stored it in an unmarked container and hid it in her drawer beneath innocent-looking products. That night, lying in bed, she made one final promise to herself. Just once, just to see if it works. Then maybe I'll stop. But she wouldn't stop. She couldn't. Because once you taste success from shortcuts, going back to patience feels impossible. The next morning, Amara's first customer arrived. Her name was Blessing, a young mother with a bright smile who wanted box braids for her cousin's wedding. Amara welcomed her warmly, trying to hide the nervous energy coursing through her veins. For 3 hours, she braided carefully, creating beautiful, uniform box braids that fell perfectly down Blessing's back. They chatted about family, church, life. Blessing talked about her children. Amara laughed at her stories. To anyone watching, it was just two women bonding over hair. But when the braiding was complete, Amara's heart began to pound. Her hands trembled slightly as she reached for the drawer. She pulled out the unlabeled container, her mouth suddenly dry. "Let me apply this special cream," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "It helps the braids last longer and adds beautiful shine." Blessing smiled trustingly. "Thank you, sister. You're so thorough." Amara applied the mixture to Blessing's scalp and edges, massaging it in gently. Her stomach twisted with guilt, but she forced herself to finish. Blessing paid, thanked her profusely, and left happy. For the next 3 days, Amara checked her phone obsessively. She jumped at every sound outside her shop. She barely slept, wondering if she had made a terrible mistake. Several times, she almost threw the mixture away. On the 3rd day, Blessing came rushing back. She wasn't walking. She was almost running, her face twisted in distress. The moment she entered the shop, she began scratching her scalp desperately. "Sister Amara, please help me. My head is on fire." Amara's heart stopped for a moment, but she forced herself into performance mode. She gasped, looking shocked and concerned. "Oh no! What happened?" "I don't know." Blessing was nearly crying. "Since yesterday, I can't sleep. The itching is unbearable. It feels like something is burning my scalp." Amara examined Blessing's scalp carefully, making sympathetic sounds. "Oh my. Some scalps are very sensitive. This sometimes happens with certain hair types. Don't worry, I'll fix it right away." She charged for the removal and rebraiding. And when she was done, she applied the mixture again, a smaller amount this time, just enough to bring Blessing back in another few days. Within 2 weeks, the pattern established itself perfectly. Customer after customer returned with the same complaints. 2 days, 3 days, 4 days after their appointments. All of them scratching, uncomfortable, desperate for relief. And all of them trusting Amara completely. Nobody suspected her. Instead, they praised her. Amara never abandons her customers. She's always available when we need her. Such a caring stylist. Word spread through the community. The narrative became, Amara was a dedicated professional who stood by her clients even when they had problems. Her reputation soared. And with it, her business exploded. Within 6 weeks, Amara's life transformed completely. Her shop went from empty to fully booked. Customers lined up on weekends. She started taking appointments a week in advance. The money poured in like she had never imagined. Her income tripled, then quadrupled. She stopped skipping meals. She sent money home regularly. Her mother called her, voice breaking with joy. "God has blessed my daughter." We prayed, and he answered. Amara paid her siblings' school fees in full, both terms at once. She bought her father medication for his chronic back pain. She sent money for her mother to expand her vegetable business. The salon itself underwent a transformation. She bought a standing fan, then an air conditioning unit. She replaced the cracked mirror with a large professional one that covered the entire wall. She installed a ring light for customer photos. She bought comfortable waiting chairs with cushions. She ordered branded shopping bags with her logo. She hired a sign painter to create a professional outdoor sign with neon lights. She even created additional products. Amara's special scalp relief oil became her bestseller, just coconut oil, menthol, and petroleum jelly in fancy bottles with custom-printed labels. She sold it for 2,500 naira per bottle. Customers bought it weekly, believing it would prevent the itching. It didn't. But it gave them temporary cooling relief and created another income stream from the same scheme. The community saw her as a success story, a young entrepreneur who made it through hard work and dedication. People pointed to her as inspiration at church. Neighbors used her as an example for their children. And with each passing day, Amara's conscience grew quieter. She began to rationalize more freely. I'm not really hurting them, she would tell herself. Just making them uncomfortable. That's not the same thing. And look how it's helping my family. But greed is a poison that always wants more. One evening, counting her money, a thought occurred to her. If a small amount of the mixture worked this well, bringing customers back in 3 to 4 days, what would happen if she used more? If she increased the concentration? Why should they return in 3 days when 2 days meant more appointments, more money? The shift was subtle at first. She started adding more relaxer to her mixture. Then she began including other harsh chemicals, things meant only for processing hair strands, never for scalp application. She went from using drops to using tablespoons. She applied it more generously, covering more area, using it liberally on every customer. She had lost her moral compass completely. Success had become her drug. Money solved all her previous problems, and that created a dangerous confidence. I'm in control, she assured herself. Nothing serious will happen. Business is business. Everyone has their strategy. Then came the first serious warning sign. A customer returned with a small patch of completely missing hair, not just thinned, but gone, exposing scalp. Amara's heart skipped a beat when she saw it. Fear flashed through her, but she hid her reaction immediately. Maybe you scratched too hard in your sleep, she said smoothly. Let me apply treatment. I'll fix it. The customer believed her. She even booked her next appointment before leaving. Amara ignored the warning. She was too far gone now, too addicted to the money and the lifestyle it provided. She had expanded her business. She had responsibilities, employees, bills, family depending on her. Stopping wasn't an option anymore. And then Chidinma walked into her salon. Chidinma was different from other customers. She was quiet, observant, professional. She worked as an accountant for a construction company and had a reputation for noticing details others missed.
She wasn't the gossiping type.
She didn't panic easily. And she definitely didn't ignore patterns. She came recommended by a friend who raved about Amara's work. On her first visit, Chidinma got beautiful knotless braids that took 5 hours to complete. She left happy, praising Amara's skill, tipping generously. Amara applied her mixture as usual, using the increased concentration she had recently adopted. She had no idea this customer would be different. Because unlike the others, Chidinma wasn't the type to panic and rush back. She was the type to investigate. And that would make all the difference. 2 months after Amara increased the chemical concentration, the damage became impossible to hide. Multiple customers were showing severe reactions that went far beyond simple itching. Ngozi, a regular customer, returned with tears streaming down her face, not from emotion, but from pain. When Amara loosened her braids, she saw small red chemical burns dotting the scalp. Multiple patches where hair simply didn't exist anymore. What's happening to my hair? Ngozi whispered, terrified. Amara's heart raced, but her lies came smoothly now. It's the weather. This hot season affects sensitive scalps badly. I have a special treatment that will help. She recommended an expensive treatment, another product she had created specifically to profit from the damage she caused. Ngozi bought 3 bottles. Ifeoma, a young bride planning her wedding, found broken hair strands on her pillow every morning. Her edges were thinning visibly, creating an uneven hairline. 3 weeks before her wedding, she came to the salon panicking. My wedding photos will be ruined. What do I do? Amara soothed her, offered a special repair treatment, and charged premium rates for the solution. She even sold Ifeoma an expensive wig to wear until the wedding, making thousands more from the crisis she had created. Mama Tund, an older customer, developed a scalp infection with pus-filled bumps. She visited a clinic where the doctor asked about hair products and salon treatments. But Mama Tund defended Amara vigorously. She would never use bad products. She's a good girl. Maybe it's my medication causing this. She returned to the salon, and Amara sent her to a pharmacy with a specific antibiotic recommendation, covering her tracks skillfully. Amara could see the damage clearly now. It was undeniable. She knew she should stop immediately. But the money had become her addiction. Every morning she would tell herself, just a few more months. I need to save enough first. Build a proper nest egg. Then I'll stop. Each excuse made the next one easier. Meanwhile, Chidinma was putting together a case. On the second day after her braiding session, she experienced the severe scalp reaction. But unlike the others, she didn't panic. She observed carefully, noting the sudden onset, the specific location where the product had been applied, the intensity of the burning sensation. She began casual conversations with other customers, asking if they had similar experiences. The pattern was too consistent to be coincidence. Every single person who got their hair done by Amara experienced the same reaction within 2 to 4 days. Same timing. Same locations. Same intensity. When Chidinma visited her friend Ngozi one evening, she mentioned her experience casually. Ngozi's eyes widened. The exact same thing happened to me. I thought I was the only one. They compared notes in detail. The evidence was overwhelming. This wasn't about hair types or scalp sensitivity. This was deliberate. We need to catch her in the act, Chidinma said firmly. I need concrete evidence before I report this. They planned carefully. Ngozi would book an appointment on a busy Saturday, posing as a new customer recommended by a friend from another neighborhood. Chidinma would come as her supportive friend. They would watch everything. That Saturday, the salon was packed. Amara was in high spirits, laughing with customers, managing multiple assistants she had hired, collecting money constantly. The atmosphere hummed with success. Ngozi's session began. She requested box braids, which would take 3 to 4 hours, perfect for observation. Amara assigned Ngozi to herself, considering her a regular customer even though she was pretending otherwise. Chidinma sat in the corner, pretending to scroll through her phone, but her eyes tracked Amara's every movement. She noticed how Amara kept glancing at a specific drawer, how she positioned her body to block the view when reaching for products, the nervous energy that appeared whenever she moved toward that particular spot. While waiting, Chidinma heard devastating stories from other customers. One woman came every week now. My hair just doesn't hold anymore, she complained, unaware she was a victim. But Sister Amara always helps me. Another woman had lost so much hair, she wore a wig to cover the patches. She was there for Amara's special restoration treatment, paying 15,000 Nigerian nairas for the session. A mother brought her teenage daughter, whose edges were completely gone. Yet she was still recommending Amara to others. She's the only one who cares enough to help when problems happen. Chidinma's anger grew with each story. This wasn't 1 or 2 victims. This was systematic. Dozens, maybe hundreds of women being exploited, their trust weaponized against them. Finally, the moment arrived. Amara finished Ngozi's beautiful box braids. She walked casually to the small drawer, opened it slightly while shielding it with her body, and retrieved a small, unlabeled white container. It looked nothing like the branded products displayed on her shelf. No label. No ingredients list. Just plain white cream in an unmarked jar. Amara scooped a generous amount onto her fingers and moved toward Ngozi's scalp with that familiar warm smile. Chidinma's hand gripped her chair. Ngozi's eyes met Chidinma's in the mirror. Other customers chatted around them, completely unaware. Amara's fingers were inches from Ngozi's scalp. The tension was unbearable. And then everything exploded. Stop. Chidinma's voice cut through the salon like a blade. Every conversation ceased instantly. The room fell into shocked silence. Everyone turned to stare. Amara froze, her hand suspended in midair, cream still on her fingers. Chidinma stood slowly, her voice calm but carrying absolute authority. What is inside that cream? Amara forced a nervous laugh. It's just regular hair cream. For shine. Then why isn't it labeled? Chidinma stepped closer. Why is it different from all the products on your shelf? Why don't you use it on your own hair? Ngozi touched her scalp immediately, realization dawning. Her voice rose. So, this is what you used on me before? This is why I kept coming back with pain. The waiting customers rushed forward. People from neighboring shops, hearing the commotion, began crowding at the door. Someone pulled out their phone and started recording. What cream? Show us. I always wondered why my scalp burns. You've been doing this to all of us? The pressure mounted from all sides. Someone shouted, "Open it and let us smell it. Use it on your own hair right now if it's safe." The crowd was closing in. Voices overlapping. Anger rising. Amara backed against the wall, clutching the container to her chest, trapped with nowhere to run. Her hands began trembling violently. Sweat poured down her face. Tears streamed from her eyes. Her voice cracked. I'm sorry. Please. I didn't mean to hurt anybody." The container dropped from her hands, hitting the floor with a hollow sound. Her knees buckled and she slid down the wall, sobbing uncontrollably. The eruption was immediate. Women screaming in shock and rage. Some crying, touching their hair in horror, realizing the extent of the betrayal. Others were calling family members, demanding accountability. Someone dialed the police. "Come quickly. We have an assault case at Amara's salon." Within 20 minutes, 2 police officers arrived to find a crowd blocking the street. Amara was still on the floor, curled into herself, sobbing. The officers examined the unlabeled containers, searched the drawer, and found multiple similar jars along with her fake treatment products. Customers provided statements showing their scarred scalps, their missing hair, their infected skin. Photos were taken as evidence. The officers placed handcuffs on Amara's wrists. Her legs barely supported her as they led her to the police vehicle. The crowd's reaction was divided. Some shouted angrily. Others looked sympathetic. "She's just young and foolish." But most were furious. "She destroyed our hair deliberately for money." Yellow tape blocked the salon entrance. Her keys were confiscated. Within hours, everyone in the neighborhood knew. Her success story had become a cautionary tale. At the police station, Amara sat on a cold metal bench, face buried in her hands. Officers reviewed the case while multiple victims arrived to file reports. "Explain everything from the beginning," the officer said. And Amara did. She held nothing back. She told them about Sister Blessing's abandonment, about her struggling salon, about the curse of doing work that lasted too long. She explained how the desperate idea became an addiction, how small amounts became dangerous doses, how the money blinded her conscience completely. She cried through the entire statement. The officer's response wasn't harsh, but it was truthful. "You wanted success, but you chose poison. Shortcuts in business always have consequences. You destroyed trust, health, and your own future." He explained the potential charges: assault, fraud, endangerment. When Amara's mother arrived, the elderly woman was crying, confused. "Amara, why? Why didn't you tell me you were suffering? We would have found another way together." Amara broke down completely. "I wanted to make you proud, Mama. I wanted to help the family. I'm so sorry." Her younger siblings waited outside. She couldn't face them. She had been their example, their inspiration. Now they saw her in handcuffs. Local elders were called to mediate. After long discussions, a settlement was reached. Amara would pay for medical treatment for all victims: dermatologist consultations, hair restoration treatments, wigs for those with severe loss. She would make a public apology. Her salon would close for at least 6 months. She would perform community service at the local health clinic and attend counseling sessions. The victims were divided. Some wanted full prosecution. Others remembered her struggle and felt sympathy. Eventually, they agreed on one condition: she could never practice hairstyling again without supervision. 1 week later, Amara returned to her salon alone. She took down the signboard herself and sat on the dusty floor, staring at the empty chairs and cracked mirror. The mirror she had replaced with such pride. She felt the full weight of her destroyed dream. For days, she didn't open the shop. She cried, prayed, and thought deeply. She read business ethics books borrowed from the library. She studied proper customer care and learned about patience in entrepreneurship. Then one morning she cleaned everything. She threw away every unlabeled container, scrubbed the salon from top to bottom, and bought only legitimate, branded products. She created a new shelf with clear labels on everything. Inside the drawer where she had kept her poisonous mixture, she wrote in permanent marker and pinned a note. No shortcuts again. If it takes time, I will wait. Slow success is better than fast regret. 2 days later, she quietly reopened. A small handwritten sign read, "Under new management. Honest service." People walked past without entering. Some stopped, stared, shook their heads. Whispers were audible. That's the girl who... Hours passed. The shop remained empty. Amara cleaned the same mirror repeatedly, praying silently. She almost closed early. Then one woman stepped inside. An elderly lady with wise eyes. She looked around carefully, examined the products on the shelf, and read the note in the drawer. "I believe everyone deserves a second chance," she said gently. "Can you braid my hair?" Amara's eyes filled with tears. She couldn't speak. She just nodded. She braided slowly, carefully, using only honest products. Her hands trembled with gratitude. She took her time and did beautiful work. She charged a fair price. The customer left satisfied. By month's end, a few old customers had returned. Not many, not quickly, but enough to survive. They trusted her again, cautiously. And she protected that trust like it was made of glass. One evening, locking up her shop, Amara looked at the new sign she had made. Amara's touch. Honest work, patient growth. She whispered to herself, "Slow success is better than fast regret." Then she walked home with a peace she never had during her successful months. Hope was returning one honest braid at a time. When your talent is genuine, patience will reward you in the right way. Real success is built on honesty, not tricks or shortcuts. If your growth comes from harming others, it may look like progress at first, but it will eventually destroy everything you worked for. Your reputation, your peace, and your future. Protect your name. Do good work. Be patient with your process. And let your blessings grow naturally, even if it takes longer. Remember, slow success with a clean conscience is always better than fast success with regret and shame. Your character is your true wealth. Thank you so much to all my amazing subscribers, especially my returning viewers. Your love, support, and consistency mean the world to me. If you're new here and this story touched your heart, please hit that subscribe button, turn on post notifications, and join this beautiful community. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. You don't want to miss the next one. Love you all. Let's keep growing together with integrity, fam.